Hey guys, welcome back to Iron Lotus Martial Arts, the world leader of discipleship-focused martial arts. Today we're going to be looking at one of our Shinja Kenpo techniques, crossing the storm. And this is going to be against a leading left jab or a sucker punch from the side on my right side. Alternatively, we could do this inverted, and as you approach black belt, you should be looking at this from that inverted standpoint. If I should be able to do this on either side, right? But as it's taught for our curriculum base, most people are right-handed, which means if they're going to do a leading jab, it's going to be off that left side. If they're going to go for that sucker punch here, it's going to be right here. So what I'm doing is I'm training my body to use my peripherals to then check the hand this way. So if I'm here, boom, that's my first step. I'm going to couple that with this. So we're going to get our scissor block. But I'm not really in the best position here, so I'm going to go ahead and get my scissor block with my dragon step. And that's really just a cross step behind as I'm getting behind my opponent with my scissor block here. I'm going to lock this into his tricep and his wrist, and I'm going to start turning. As I'm turning him, I'm going to bring my foot up for a scoop kick or a heel kick straight to his face. So right there, we already have several principles of motion expanded into this. So first one, economy of motion, nearest target, nearest weapon. This is now my first block, okay? Now that's going to turn into continuity of motion, which means I'm going to be turning the same way. We often talk about this, and it's why we call it crossing the storm. We talk about this in the process of spinning one direction. So if my body is going to be spinning this direction, okay, I'm going to keep that spinning, and you'll see where that goes here in a minute, okay? And so since we're crossing behind him, and we're spinning like that hurricane, you know, a storm is not going to get to a point and then go, oh, I'm going to go ahead and turn and go the other direction, okay? So we want to keep that continuity of motion as it continues to rotate, okay? You also have directional harmony. My first step is coming this direction, okay, on this axis here. My second step, after my heel kick, is still coming on that same axis behind my opponent, okay? If we see this from the other side here, I'm crossing here. I'm on that axis, heel hook kick, and I'm stepping again on that same direction. So there's directional harmony built into this thing. I want to make sure that all my movement is economical. The biggest thing, a lot of times people say, Shihan, how do I get faster? Well, first off, training, but it's not necessarily muscular speed, it's economy. I'm economic in my motion, and that economy allows me to be quick on my strikes. So again, the very first part of this, it's that sucker punch here to the side of the head. Boom, we take that strike, or we can push it forward, hook it, turn that into my scissor block, lock it, turn. As his head is coming down, I'm right there in position for that little dragon tail kick, okay? Cross step again. I've got a double hammer fist, okay? I'm going to pull into my cat stance here, and I'm going to go ahead and chicken kick and push him away. Again, creating what? Space, okay? Point of contact is here, point of control, boom, bringing him down. Point of escape, turn, hammer fist, kidneys and spine. Okay, chicken kick pushes him away for that point of escape, okay? Again, let's try it from the other side here so we can kind of see it, all right, in action this way now. Boom, gonna go ahead and turn, heel hook kick, cross step again. I'm rotating, keeping all of that rotational force, okay, and sinking my body weight. So I'm rising up, sinking down, okay? As we get to this point, now we're getting to the point where I can pull into my cat stance, create that space, and I've gone ahead and pushed him away for that escape point, okay? So principles of motion that we see in this, again, directional harmony. Everything's moving off that 45-degree angle. Let's look at it this way, okay? Everything is moving here, okay? Directional harmony. You also have on this continuity of motion, which means my rotation is spinning that same direction. Here, hook, spin, spin, okay? I'm moving, and that's going to allow my motion to be economical and keep that rotational force moving in that same direction, which builds kinetic energy and motion, okay? So now we want to be able to take that motion and apply it as I rise and fall. We've got our hammer fist built into that, okay? You also have economy of motion, nearest weapon, nearest target, okay? We saw this on the heel kick, okay? Here, as I'm cross-stepping, hooking down, heel kick is right here, okay? Another one that's hidden in there, you could almost call that a hidden move too, because most people aren't going to expect that, okay? Another one hidden in there is the concept of opposing forces. You're taking his skull, moving it down at a high rate of speed, and this is coming up at a high rate of speed, and that's going to amplify the striking power from my heel to his face, hopefully breaking a lot of this moneymaker, okay? So you've got so many things to unpack in there. You could also call that borrowed momentum, okay? But borrowed momentum typically refers to I'm taking a strike and I'm going to use this momentum against him. Now, where would we see borrowed momentum in this particular technique? As we're driving here, boom, he has momentum, and I'm going to use that momentum to help me push him into this position. Oh, here, okay? So all of these things together is really what creates this technique. Again, all of our techniques are not the end-all, be-all. You have to know this sequence. In other words, you're going to fail in a street fight. Or, come on, guys. It's training to understand motion, to then understand the pattern recognition. If this happens to me, I know I can hear. Even if I miss my block and I end up with this, I can turn this into something totally different, okay? And that's okay because you're developing body position recognition. And when you hit the body position recognition, now we can step into something here, and I've got something and I know where my targets are. That's why we train, and that's why we deeply understand the principles of motion on an intellectual level. That's what we have for you guys this week on Principles of Motion series for Shinja Kenpo Karate. Have a blessed day. Train responsibly.